dear viewers, thank you so much for joining us on this edition of the news today, Monday, October 23, 2023. And now on to our major stories right away. Several society actors and legal minds across Cameroon expressed disdain after a 28-year-old woman was thrown into prison with her two kids, aged 6 and 3. The victim is accused of stealing a mobile phone and not in possession of a national ID card. We will be bringing to you the legal implications of such an act in this news edition. And the rainy season is not ended yet. Meteorologists warn that locals must stay awake as there might be serious floods or inundation in the days ahead in Cameroon. And now what is happening within the Victoria Football Club? Smart Njikang Gabriel brings us details on the confusion within the team also in this edition of the news. Viewers, those are our major stories. Details when we come back. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for being with us. We begin this edition of the news with these elements from the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, where a lady aged 28 is being detained in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, precisely at the Kondengi maximum prison with her kids aged 3 and 6. She's been accused of stealing a mobile telephone and not in possession of a national identity card. Immaculate Fogo in the report which comes up next spoke with a legal mind who tells us the legal implications of such an act. Well, we will be coming to that report in the course of this newscast. We now move on to something else. Poor waste disposal alongside urban disorder in the city of Douala are a major preoccupation to all, especially authorities who on a daily basis have been strategizing ways to curb the problem. In line with this, the operation called Douala Clean City has been launched today by the governor of the Littoral region. Let's now have more with Lucy Liengo Isie.
In a bid to curb the problems of waste management and urban disorder in the city of Douala, the Douala City Council, under the supervision of the governor of the Littoral region, has launched an operation known as the Douala Clean City, which brought together some administrative authorities
La vision institutionnelle commune d'une ville propre, dynamique et résiliente
to ensure that this operation is effectively carried out. Measures have been taken. The Douala City Council has recruited about 650 youth who will work together with the council, making sure that the town of Douala is clean.
Nous avons travaillé avec les ACAM et nous avons mis en place actuellement 650 jeunes que nous avons recrutés, qui sont eux aussi dans ce programme.
Bags will be made available for each household to discard their dirt for a period of 48 hours before disposing at the roadside.
Je dis bien tout le monde, ceux qui ne voudront pas se laisser satisfaire, si on les prend en train de jeter par terre, ils verront bien ce qu'ils verront.
In the same vein, to fight against urban disorder, several roadside kiosks will be destroyed. The operation will begin from Sudanese to Mbopi.
By October 1st, we have to clean the first road going from Sudanese to Mbopi, so that even in the markets, when the program reaches the level of markets, we tell you, leave the road free. You have to sell in your stores, not only.
Samuel Ivahadi Bua called on authorities concerned to help implement this operation in the various areas of jurisdiction.
And now, after the death of a teacher of the government high school, Pika Ventuang, the regional delegates for secondary education for the Littoral region was at the school premises to comfort colleagues and to remind the administrators of the institution that the public authorities are with them during this trying moment. The delegation also visited the late teacher's colleague who was involved in the same accident and now receiving medical attention at the Douala General Hospital. Mala Glory has the details.
quite a message of comfort and solidarity that was presented to the teaching staff of Government High School Peka 21. This was during a condolence visit to the school this Monday, October 23rd, by the regional delegate of secondary education for the Littoral region and her collaborators. This is following the death of a teacher of the school, Mire Flor Beyala, who was crushed by container at Peka this week on October 13 while she was returning from school. We have come to bring a word of comfort from the Ministry of Secondary Education to these teachers who felt abandoned. We have come to remind them that they are not alone, that the government will always be with them.
Qui avait l'impression d'être à l'hôpital, nous allons aussi.
We will be visiting their colleague in the hospital to also assure him that he can count on the hierarchy.
Tout ira bien, il peut compter sur la hiérarchie.
From Peka 21, they moved to the General Hospital to pay a visit to Mire Flor's colleague who sustained injuries during the road accident. The road, which according to users is in a deplorable state. The regional delegate, after experiencing what residents, including teachers, go through on the bad road every day, promised to report to the competent authorities for a quick solution. I think the competent authorities will be informed of this poor road so that something can be done as soon as possible. I am sure work will soon resume normally after this visit, as they have assured us that something will be done to fix the poor nature of the road. The death of a teacher while she was returning from work is happening at a time when teachers in Cameroon are still demanding for better working conditions.
And viewers, we told you in the headlines that the rainy season is not over yet. The National Observatory on Climate Change announces serious rainfall between October 21 to October 30. Meteorological engineers warn the population of the 10 regions of Cameroon to take precautionary measures during this period. Innocent Ase with the details.
Increased temperatures and low rainfall in past weeks are not announcing the dry season just yet. The National Observatory on Climate Change, in its recent publication, announces heavy rainfall between the 21st and 30th of October, accompanied by catastrophes like inundations, landslides, building collapse, with death to be recorded, destruction of plantations, contamination of water sources, leading to rise in cholera and malaria cases all over the 10 regions of Cameroon. Speaking to a meteorological works engineer, Nkwo Linda, at the Littoral Regional Delegation of Transport, she says an alert wouldn't have been necessary if people respected construction norms in particular.
We talk of catastrophe because the people that have actually built on water channels, actually blocking water from passing. Geographical location, especially of our region, situated in the Gulf of Guinea, the far north and the northern Cameroon, the topography is plain. When it falls, water has no root, so it's stagnant. The soil actually does not retain water.
Faced with these threats, the population, she says, have to be prudent.
Staying out of gutters, landslides prone zones, slopey areas, marshy areas, because water does not have a direction. It sweeps away everything that it meets. Clean the drainage patterns, because when it rains, these runoffs, when it comes and block, it creates floods and it enters into houses. It also affects even the health sector, because it becomes a breeding ground for mosquitoes too.
Nkwo Linda thinks at this point in time, authorities have a limited role to play.
The administration does its work to sensitize the population. It is for them now to take the action.
Apart from the National Observatory on Climate Change, the Ministry of Transport, authorities and other institutions also warn of devastating rainfall in the coming days, cautioning the population to remain vigilant and quit risk zones for their safety.
And now back to this story. A woman and her 2 kids, aged 3 and 6, are currently being detained at the Kondengui Central Prison in Yaoundé. The woman is being accused of stealing an Android mobile telephone, an allegation she denies. Immaculate Fogwe spoke with a legal mind who tells us the legal implications of detaining that lady with her kids.
Their rights of living a normal life is being jeopardized after they were sent to the Kondengui Central Prison alongside their 28-year-old mother, both teenagers aged 3 and 6-year-old are paying for a crime which their mother claims to be innocent. Jenabu, who hails from Marwa and the Far North region, is being accused of stealing an Android phone.
How do you admit in the prison children who are not condemned? So I think that the prison administrator needs to explain to Cameroonians, needs to explain to authorities how he permitted those children to enter the prison. So the woman is serving prison term with the children. It is inconceivable. It is to an extent madness.
The young widow living in Yaoundé was summoned after a complaint was filed against her. Unable to bail herself and equally present a lawyer, she was rather placed on pre-trial detention alongside her children.
Was there any lawyer who pleaded on behalf of this woman to tell the court that as we are sitting like this, there is a child, this woman is breastfeeding a child, or this woman is the only person staying with these children? Because that is a good mitigating factor. You understand, when they want to render justice, a lawyer, if that woman had a lawyer, I'm very sure that that lawyer would have drawn the attention of the court that there is this issue that their children are involved.
Many Cameroonians condemned the forceful arrest of the teens while calling on the law to take its course. It should be recalled that both children are currently being detained in a prison described by Amnesty International as overcrowded and unhygienic.
And veteran lawyer Barrister Yondo Black paints a lamentable picture of the country Cameroon, which he calls his. In an open letter to the President of the Republic, President Paul Biya, he attributes the situation of the country to poor leadership and foreign influence. He calls for action to save the country Cameroon from doom. Babila Jonathan tells us more about the content of Barrister Yondo Black's letter to President Paul Biya.
Former Bar Council President Yondo Black begins by qualifying colonialism as a crime and thus should not continue in whatever form of submission to the masters of yesterday. He highlights the close ties between France and Cameroon, which he says did not stop President Biya from drawing closer to Russia, possibly because he understood what General de Gaulle meant when he said that in politics there are no friends but interest. Yondo Black says if Cameroon was like France, where freedom of opinion and expression is a doctrine, where citizens can express their thoughts without fear, President Biya would have heard some speaking like a French woman who was asked a question about President Macron, and she said,
"I can no longer stand this president who has no legitimacy and who is in the process of ruining France, trampling on its values, history and her people. That is enough, and now we want him to leave, and leave quickly."
Yondo Black enumerates the ills of foreign influence on the country and her people, and the time bomb linked to the innermost ill feelings of civilians and soldiers with regards to the violence, killings and destruction inflicted on citizens. In this perspective, he asked the head of state if he really thinks that even the soldiers guarding him and the nation will remain silent forever.
It is time that we assert our points of view beyond the necessary denunciations and criticisms of the violence committed against us.
The leader questions the paradox of a country highly blessed with natural resources but very poor, plagued by inadequate social amenities like roads. He blames that on poor leadership and the absence of President Paul Biya, who he says has been invisible on the ground through a greater part of his 40-year rule, even when armed conflicts, insecurity, natural and man-made disasters kill and injure tens of thousands of citizens. He ends by reminding President Biya, qualified as Cher Mendiant de la Paix, or Dear Peace Beggar, that he told a journalist in 1990 that he wants to be remembered as the man who brought democracy and prosperity to Cameroon.
And now we take you out of our national frontiers. First, the DRC, where fighting continues between the Mbole and the Lenga, two communities in the province of Chopo. Due to this conflict, 6 civilians died over the weekend, bringing the death toll to more than 500 since February. The roundup of our foreign page news with Cedric Chakutiu.
In the Democratic Republic of Congo, fighting continues between the Mbole and the Lenga, two communities in the province of Chopo at the gates of the city Kisangani in the northeast of the country. Report says 6 civilians died this weekend, bringing the death toll to more than 500 since February. Again, this crisis is increasingly worrying because it is now reaching the gate of the city of Kisangani, the headquarters of Chopo province. Moreover, the number of victims has exploded in the last 2 months, and the crisis seems to be beyond the provincial authorities, who are no longer able to supply the displaced with food due to the lack of financial resources. For fear of excesses, the national government dispatched a squadron of 150 police officers to maintain order in the crisis territories. And in the Israeli-Palestinian fight, at least 5,087 people, including 2,055 children, have died since the start of Israeli bombardments on the Gaza Strip, according to a report released by the Human Ministry of Health. In addition, these strikes also targeted southern Libya Sunday night, according to the Libyanese National Agency. Benjamin Netanyahu, who assembled his war cabinet on Sunday evening in Tel Aviv, warns that Hezbollah will make the mistake of its life by going to war against Israel. For the moment, the Palestinian minister condemned on Monday the positions taken, which gave a license to kill Israel.
And now we take you to our sports page. Viewers, football lovers in Cameroon's economic capital say that Cameroon Football Federation FECAFOOT should select the right venues for some important debuts of the Elite One Championship. The cry of the supporters came as several fans were left stranded during the Dynamo of Douala versus Bambutu's FC of Mbuda at the annex of the Bipanda Reunification Stadium. Smart Dikangi Berisa sportsman.
Dynamo of Douala clash against Bambutu's FC of Mbuda from the West region was one of the top confrontations of match day 5 of the Elite One Championship. Unfortunately, the frustrations were many at the side of the fans. I'm not happy and I blame FECAFOOT because a club like Dynamo and Bambutus with many supporters were supposed to be given the main stadium. Because of the limited space, I couldn't support my club effectively. Due to the limited space for spectators, some fans were spotted on story buildings watching the match without paying the gate fee. A match of this magnitude was supposed to be played at the Reunification Stadium, not its annex, because we saw people on story buildings watching the game. It's a loss to us who were hosting. Those who managed to get into the annex of the Reunification Stadium in Bepanda had no seats, and they are calling on the FA to sit up. The league is certainly improving, but officials of the federation and those in charge of the different sports infrastructures need to have an understanding. It's not the first time supporters are going furious against the FA about the choice of venue for some important games, but till date, the same errors are being made.
And still in sports, we talk about some of the problems plaguing the Victoria United Football Club. Fans of the Victoria United are requesting that the officials running the Elite One Championship should refund their gate fees. The call from the fans comes after Victoria United failed to show up in a Day 5 encounter against Apaches full at the Centenary Stadium in Limbe. Smart Dikangibe once again has the details.
Disgruntled supporters of Victoria United lament after a Day 5 match beating their club Opopo didn't take place. These are the tickets I bought for the game. It didn't play. The FA president knew about the worries of the president of Opopo, but he went ahead to program the game. Let him refund our money. After the match failed to play, the supporters stood in front of the Centenary Stadium to wait for their match day fee to be refunded to them. We are out here waiting for our money to be refunded to us since the match didn't take place. Other supporters even promised not to pay gate fee for the next match. I won't pay for the next match. Many supporters say they are now regretting having an Elite One club in Victoria. When we had Elite One club in Limbe, we were all happy, but it seems it will instead make us to regret. Apaches of Mfu from Yaoundé were the opponents of Victoria United at the Centenary Stadium in Limbe, but the home team wasn't present. A disappointment for Apaches of Mfu. The club's administration invested much into this game, and all of the work we did in the course of the week, we didn't evaluate our boys. With the happenings of the day, it was later that the president of Opopo, Quine Valentine, aka Bob Didi, appeared.
I am not into football for any gain or to seek any position, neither from the federation or the government. I am in football because I have the love of the game and the passion, and also to give back to my community a social corporate responsibility and a goal of empowering young talented Cameroonians. I am sorry if anybody thought otherwise. Goodbye.
Fecafoot has not yet communicated about the situation, but according to its statutes, Victoria United, who were absent, will logically miss out on the 3 points of the day.
And viewers, that does it for the first part. The news don't go away. Talking Points comes up next. Our guest tonight is Dr. Barrister Kamwa Limen. He is a legal mind. Barrister, thank you so much for accepting to be our guest tonight. On Talking Points, we will be addressing some social ills in our society. To begin with, Barrister, as a legal mind, what's your analysis of a 28-year-old mother who is in detention with her children at the Konegi Maximum Prison for allegedly stealing a phone? She is in detention with her kids aged 3 and 6, Barrister.
No, I want to thank, first of all, Equinoxe, because you people bring the information to the limelight. You know, it is inconceivable that they allow children as prisoners who are not condemned. One, the prison administrator is not normal in his head. It's not normal in his head. How do you admit those children in the prison when they are not prisoners? Two, because it is him. The legal department, the court that gives the judgment is oblivious of the fact that maybe the woman is taking children there. You understand? And so you go to the records of the court. Was there any lawyer who pleaded on behalf of this woman to tell the court that as we are selling like this, there is a child, this woman is breastfeeding a child, or this woman is the only person staying with these children? Because that is a good mitigating factor. You understand? When they want to render justice, a lawyer, if that woman had a lawyer, I'm very sure that that lawyer would have drawn the attention of the court that there is this issue that their children are involved. And I think in the wisdom of the court, that would have been given a consideration. Now, when the woman goes to the prison, who keeps the woman is a prison administrator. So how then do you admit in your prison? That's his fault. How do you admit in the prison children who are not condemned? So I think that the prison administrator needs to explain to Cameroonians, needs to explain to authorities how he permitted those children to enter the prison. So the woman is serving prison term with the children. It is inconceivable. It is to an extent madness. And it depicts what kind of society we live in this Cameroon. How do you explain to any rational person, any normal person, that a child is in prison, 2 children are in prison with their mother? It makes no sense. It is.
And now, Barrister, all what the civil society or Cameroonians want is a solution. You're a lawyer. What do you advise be done as it stands?
They should be released from the prison with immediate effect. They should be released. And I'm calling on the Minister of Justice, because I know most of them, they watch Equinoxe. They should see into this, because there is a gross violation of human rights of those children. And then be rest assured that lawyers can pick up this and bring an action against the state. Because an act performed by any branch of the government, right, entangles the government in that act. And so it is a violation to imprison children who have not been confirmed and they are living in prisons with like adults. It is wrong. And I think that the government should the government should intervene. By the way, I want to take the responsibility to seize the Minister of Justice on this issue. And so if I have the name of those children and the name of the woman, I think I should, first thing tomorrow, send to the minister a letter, a correspondence, to remind them that, to let him know that such a situation is in existence. It is bad. It is shameful. It does not reflect a modern society that we claim that we have in Cameroon. Right? What the traumatizing effect of that on those children? Can you quantify it? No, we should be serious. We should be serious. And I am saying that the person who is responsible is the administrator, the prison administrator, who will see this kind of a thing and let it go. He would have drawn the attention to his hierarchy that I cannot keep this woman here with these children. If there is no way, then please let them review the kind of punishment they are giving that woman. It is not fair. It's not fair.
And Barrister, on to these other social ills, that's how we choose to term it, mothers who are held back in hospitals after delivery, especially public hospitals, because of unpaid bills. What are some legal implications of that too on the hospitals concerned?
I think personally that it is very, very wrong. And I would have loved that we name these institutions and shame them. You know, right to health, it's a human right. And the government, every government has a duty, the obligation to provide medical services to its citizens, you see. And so if a public hospital cannot assist poor citizens, then the government has failed. It is a human right. And so, you know, there are other institutions that should get into situations like this and try to resolve them. We have Minister of Social Welfare, if I'm correct, right? And I think that the role of these institutions, of this ministry, is to identify those persons who don't have money to be catered for. And I think that it reflects the poor society in which we live in, where people don't have money even to feed themselves. And so when they go to hospitals, they don't have the money to pay. It is incumbent on the government to be soft towards these people. So I think that whatever institution is involved in this kind of practices must be named and shamed, and it's a failure. And you know for sure that we're living in a failed state, because in a state where people have the money, they will not go to the hospital and be unable to pay their bills. In private hospitals, at least we'll understand that maybe they borrowed medicines, they took some loans to take care of that patient, and they are looking for a way. We should not be. They can sign an agreement to pay the bill on such and such day, and maybe put a.
And now, Barrister, because of time constraint, this last question. This other incident which we consider cruel. Lately, we had it on the news, a supposed lawyer who locked up his adopted child or son in a cage as a means of punishment. Is that punishable by the law, Barrister? Caging your own child or adopted child?
Well, I was taken aback. I was surprised when I heard over the news that this person is a lawyer, and immediately I reached out to get the identity and the name of that person. And for sure, I knew for sure that he will not be a lawyer, because no lawyer in the Cameroon Bar Association will do such a thing. You know, it is a violation of human rights, the right of the child. You see, no matter what happened, the parents or whoever is keeping a child cannot lock up a child in a cage like what I saw. So to begin with, I want it to be very clear that it should be known that he is not a lawyer, and so we should not taint or destroy the image of lawyers by saying that a lawyer did such an act. The guy is not a lawyer, and that act is a violation of the right of the child. It is even punishable as illegal detention by the Penal Code of Cameroon. So he has committed an offense, and of course he has to face the law.
Thank you so much, Dr. Barrister Kamwalimen, for those clarifications. And viewers, we thank you so much for always being there and faithful. Don't go away, our programs continue. The news in the French language comes up at 8 p.m. with Julien Beth Bissar, and in about 30 minutes or so, Sasha Lengutu will be in the studio for Equinoxe. So stay with us on Equinoxe Television and enjoy the rest of your week in the company of our programs. Bye-bye for now.